On October the 1st, room size becomes a whole new ballgame. At the moment, individual local authorities have to consider properties in a holistic manner, and they must be suitable for the set number of people. Now, individual local authorities can have guidance as to what size of room they consider to be acceptable, but it's just guidance. It's not a standard, and they can take it into account, but they can't make decisions based solely upon it. So they can't say, for example, this room's less than 9 square metres, so it's not acceptable. That's not that's something they're allowed to do. For new and renewed licences from October, not existing licences, local authorities will never be able to accept a sleeping room that is less than 6.51 square metres unless it's occupied by a child of under 10, when they can go down to 4.64 square metres. But under no circumstances will a room of less than 4.64 square metres ever be acceptable, and local authorities are actually supposed to maintain a register of sleeping rooms of less than 4.64 square metres, which seems to me like the least interesting register ever created. Is like the Harry Potter cupboard under the stairs register. But presumably they will have to now run this register, which I'm sure they're looking forward to. If the room is to be occupied by 2 people, then it has to be at least 10.22 square metres. And that's specifically the sleeping room. So what you can't do, for example, is aggregate 2 separate rooms together and say the total is more than 6.51. The sleeping room must be 6.51. And equally, if you've chopped a bit off that sleeping room to put in an ensuite bathroom, then that was a mistake in this context because it would potentially be too small. Now, when I say 6.51, that's a straight wall-to-wall measurement. So it doesn't matter how the room is, and it's not about what's sometimes called the usable floor space. It's a straight floor area measurement, but it doesn't allow any space that's less than 1.5 metres in height. So if you've got an attic room with eaves, you're going to have to discount the bits of it that are less than 1.5 metres and only measure the central bits. I understand there will be a lot of environmental health officers wandering around with sticks that are precisely 1.5 metres long to help with this. So that could be a problem for some people as well, even though, of course, space under 1.5 metres is technically usable for certain things, albeit you can't really stand up in it. So if that's the case, a licence condition will be applied to all licences relating to these room sizes, and if landlords knowingly breach it, they will be in breach of the licence condition, they'll be liable to prosecution. If they inadvertently breach it, so basically the tenant, there's a room that's not available for use and the tenant puts someone in it without the landlord's awareness, then the local authority can give them a grace period of up to 18 months to sort this problem out, presumably by evicting the tenants and the unauthorised person. In addition, if it's a first application or a first renewal after October 2018 and there is a room that doesn't meet the standard, then the landlord is entitled to a grace period of up to 18 months to resolve the situation. It's local authority discretion. And clearly what they're thinking of is, you've got 2 months left in your licence, so we'll give you 4 months to remove the tenant and resize the room if available to you. Now this only applies to licensable HMOs, so if your HMO is not licensable, then these room size standards don't apply. Although of course the local authority can deal with it through the Housing Health and Safety Rating System or some other mechanism. So it's quite a big change for landlords. There'll certainly be some rooms taken out of the equation. My understanding from MHCLG is they're going to keep an eye on it and see what the impact on the market is and how effective this is, and then sort of look again at whether this is the right number. Because the truth of the matter is, it may take too many rooms out the market. It may be too small a number. It might be more appropriate to go for a bigger number. It just kind of depends on circumstances. I think most landlords would accept that some rooms probably are too small. And a balance needs to be struck. And it's important to bear in mind that this minimum floor size doesn't change the equation. Local authorities have to consider whether a property is suitable for the number of people. And just because your room happens to be over 6.51, that doesn't make it okay automatically. It has to be looked at holistically. It's just that local authorities can never accept a room that is below the minimum floor sizes.